Well, it's that time of year again. How wrong will I be this year? Time to find out. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another video here on the channel. Today, we are back with a NASCAR Playoff predictions. Yes, sir, we are back in action. The NASCAR Playoffs are back, starting off this weekend at Darlington. Last weekend at Daytona was pretty nuts, I can't lie. If you enjoyed that race, make sure you smash the like button down below. I mean, what else do I have to talk? Oh yeah, this video last year was pretty well the kickoff of my channel and me starting to upload on a consistent basis. So if you haven't gone back and watched last year's video to see how wrong I was, go and click that down below. I believe my championship 4 was Elliott, Hamlin, Logano, and Larson. So I got 3 out of the 4 right, but Kyle Larson was my champion. I remember picking Kyle Larson last year, but we moved. I don't even remember who I picked in my playoff prediction video, or at the video at the beginning of this season. I can't remember who I picked then. I believe my championship 4 at that time was Larson, Elliott, Truex, and Bell, but Chase Elliott likes snowboarding a little too much, so he's not in it this year. But anyway, let's get into our NASCAR Playoff Predictions 2023 edition, starting off with a round of 16, Darlington, Kansas, and the Bristol night race. What a round of tracks, by the way, I gotta say, especially for the next gen car. This is spicy. So going out in the round of 16, I have the 34 of Michael McDowell, the 47 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr., the 23 of Bubba Wallace, and the 12 of Ryan Blaney. Now that might shock some people, but I'm going to start off with the 34 car, Michael McDowell. Congratulations to that team for getting into the playoffs and winning on a track that isn't Daytona or Talladega. That is very impressive for Michael McDowell. I mean, wouldn't be a video if I didn't burp. Will I cut that out? I don't know. It smells like banana in here now. But anyway, Michael McDowell, you know, he got that win at the Indy Road Course. Looked very impressive, I might add, in that Indy Road Course race. But part of the reason why I'm picking McDowell to go out as early as he is because I don't think he'll be as fast as his competitors on tracks, on like mile-and-a-half tracks and short tracks like Bristol, Darlington, and Kansas, you know what I mean? So I think this could be a good round for Michael McDowell, but it could not at the same time. I remember in 2021 when he got in from that win in the Daytona 500, he wrecked out at Darlington, and that was essentially the end of his playoffs. So it could be a good playoffs for Michael McDowell, but it could not at the same time. If there was a road course, I might have him going through in this round, but there isn't. Maybe if he sneaks in the round of 12, he's kind of like Austin Cindric last year. Road courses and super speedways are his best bet. But anyways, same kind of goes for this guy. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in the 47 going out in the round of 16. I feel like Stenhouse, they've been a lot more consistent this year. JTG has had a lot more speed, and obviously Stenhouse got that win in the 500 to put him in the playoffs. But here's the thing, I just don't think they're gonna have the speed like as the Gibbs and the Hendrick or what have you, because this is when the big boys step it up. And do JTG have what it takes to step it up as well? I don't think so, to be honest. And I mean, like, I really like what they've done this year, bringing in some new pit guys and giving some more speed to Stenhouse, having that alliance with Hendrick. So I think this will be a great learning experience for that team. I think it's their second ever time in the playoffs, because they got in with Allmendinger in 2014 when he won at Watkins Glen. Yeah, the first ever playoffs. So yeah, I don't think it's a surprise that Ricky Stenhouse is a one and done, but this is a good momentum builder year for that team. I will say, congrats to JTG for making it here. Another guy I want to give a big congratulations on making it here too is the 23 of Bubba Wallace, pointing his way in. Now that's what stands out to me, is he pointed his way in. I mean, if Chase Elliott didn't go snowmobiling, he probably doesn't point his way in, but he made the most of the situation and he pointed his way into the playoffs. But I think Bubba Wallace could genuinely sneak into the round of 12 here. And if he gets a win at Talladega, maybe the round of 8. Maybe. But it's a long shot. But my thing with Bubba is, it's kind of like the whole thing with Stenhouse too. This is when the big boys step it up, and when do 23-11 have what it takes to step it up. Because, I mean, they only got, well, Bubba won Kansas last year, now that I think about it. So, could Bubba Wallace win Kansas and go sneak into the round of 12? Probably, but I don't think it'll happen. A guy that I have going out in the round of 12 is who I think will actually win that Kansas race. But, anyway, Bubba Wallace going out in the round of 16, I don't think that's a surprise for many people. He could be a great playoff driver, but he could also very easily be a one and done. So, I think it's great that Bubba Wallace is in the playoffs, but this is going to be the building year for Bubba Wallace to potentially sneak into future round of 12s, rounds of 8s, and maybe even a championship 4 someday. Oh my god. Great start for Bubba Wallace in the 23 team. You can look back and definitely call this a successful season for that 23 car. Their first time in the playoffs, but other than that, I feel like this will be a one and done season for Bubba Wallace in the 23. And now, a pick that y'all are going to be surprised with, well, probably most of y'all are going to be surprised with, is Ryan Blaney going out in the round of 16. Other than super speedways, I don't think Ford is as fast as Chevy and Toyota on mile and a half, short tracks, road courses, or what have you. I mean, Michael McDowell did just win a road course, to be fair, but that's kind of an outlier. But anyway, the reason I have Ryan Blaney going out is because momentum is far from on that 12-team side, and this is a round that does not suit Ryan Blaney. I mean, Kansas he can do alright at. Darlington, I haven't really seen him had many great runs. And Bristol, I've only remember seeing Blaney do well at one Bristol race. And that was like spring 2018, where he was leading laps or running in the top 5, and then he got taken out in a big crash in like stage 1. How I remember races from 2018, I don't even know, but Ryan Blaney, I am sorry, my friend. You are going out in the round of 16, in my opinion. You could most certainly prove me wrong, but that's just my opinion. Now, going out in the round of 12. In the round of 12, you have, oh my god, Texas, there we go. Texas, Talladega, and the Charlotte Roval. And going out in the round of 12, I have the number 1 of Ross Chastain, the number 4 of Kevin Harvick, the number 17 of Chris Buescher, and the number 22 of Joey Logano. So starting off with the 1 of Ross Chastain. Big key for Ross Chastain this year, don't make any more enemies. You don't need that. You don't need that. Most people in the garage don't respect you as it is. So the main key for Ross Chastain this year is don't create enemies. But to be fair, Ross Chastain at the beginning of the season, like pre-Darlington, was battling for wins against drivers like Truex and Larson and Hamlin and what have you. But post-Darlington, Ross Chastain has definitely tapered back a bit. I'm pretty sure since Darlington, he's only finished in the top 10 twice, and one was his win at Nashville. I know that for a fact, and I can't remember where the other one was. But even still, Ross just doesn't have to make any enemies. This year is about getting the garage on your side, learning how to drive clean and respect the field, and maybe you can go have a great season next season, adapting to a cleaner driving style, if you know what I mean. So it's not a championship 4 appearance. It's not second place this year for Ross Chastain. Trackhouse have been so topsy-turvy this year that you can't really tell which way they're going to go. But I think a round of 12 exit is fair for Ross Chastain. You could definitely see him being one of those guys that go in the round of 16. But I think round of 12 is fair for Ross Chastain. Kevin Harvick going out in the round of 12 in his final season. I probably would have Harvick in the round of 16, but But here's my thing with Harvick. I feel like they can sneak into a win at like Bristol or something. I know SHR isn't fast, but Harvick is always consistent. It's Kevin frickin' Harvick, man. I drive with him in my... Oh, wait. Has that video came out yet? I don't know. I'm gonna save that clip for those people who watch my NASCAR Heat 5 series. But, anyway, yeah, no. Stewart-Haas Racing doesn't have the speed, but Kevin Harvick does. So where does that happy medium collide? I think it collides at the round of 12, considering who we have ahead of him in the round of 8 and ahead of him in the round of 12 as well. I think probably 11th place, the 11th seed, is fair for Kevin Harvick in the 4 team. I think Harvick can be competitive, but Stewart-Haas Racing isn't competitive. So Kevin Harvick to go out in the round of 12, I think, is very fair. Who else we got? Chris Buescher in the 17 going out in the round of 12. This one might surprise some people, in my opinion. With Chris Buescher winning 3 of the last 5 races since Richmond, like, man, that 17 team has turned it on. I just don't see them having a good round of 12 for some reason. I don't know what's inspired me to think that, but I just see... I can't wrap my head around both RFK cars going to the round of 8. Spoiler alert, I have Keselowski in the round of 8. But I don't see how Buescher is gonna get into the round of 8. Like, I don't see it. Unless he wins Talladega. And to be fair, he could be consistent at the Roval. And Texas, he's usually alright there, but I think a lot of the big boys are going to get more stage points than Chris Buescher. That's one thing. A lot of Chris Buescher's points are just from actual finishes rather than getting stage points. So, in my opinion, I think most of these big boys ahead of him are going to rack up the stage points, while Chris Buescher isn't, which is going to give them the advantage going into the later rounds and what have you, more playoff points, whatever. So, yeah. Sorry, Chris Buescher fans. I truly hope he makes the Final Four just for the memes. Having Chris Buescher in an RFK car in the Championship 4, that'd be pretty insane, but this is where I have Chris Buescher going out, unfortunately. My last driver for the round of 12, I almost forgot what round we were in, is Joey Logano in the 22 car. Oh, baby. Last year's champion has just not looked the same, in my opinion. I mean, Logano, his only win this year is at Atlanta, but name me one time that Logano has looked really and truly in contention for a win on a track other than a super speedway. I guess maybe New Hampshire? Was it him that was almost beat Truex at New Hampshire? But nobody was beating Truex at New Hampshire other than maybe Christopher Bell, who got caught up in a wreck. So, like, does anybody, or does Logano, like, I don't even know where to begin with Logano. Like, I just don't feel like Penske or Ford's had the speed, man. And, like, Joey Logano can take you to a round of 12, a round of 8, or even a Championship 4 pretty easily because he's Joey Logano. He's that good. But in my opinion, it's not good enough to get past the round of 12 this year. It's kind of like Harvick. Penske is this fast. Logano is this fast. Where do they meet in the middle? I think it's right here. Joey Logano in the 22 car, last year's champion, will not defend his title and go out in the round of 12. And going out in the round of 8, I have Tyler Reddick in the 45, Brad Keselowski in the 6, Denny Hamlin in the 11, and Christopher Bell in the 20. But I should add, round of 8, the tracks are Las Vegas, Homestead, there we go. My mind went blank for a second. And rounding it all off, your cutoff race will be Martinsville. Another Hail Melon? Maybe. Starting off, I've got the 45 of Tyler Reddick, first driver out in the round of 8. Man, Reddick and that 45 team could very, very easily be in that championship 4 this year. At times they have looked so freaking quick, but there's other times that they've looked so freaking bad and inconsistent. Tyler Reddick, man, is one of those teams where you're just like, you don't know what to think of him, man. Like, you really don't. There could be either extremely high or extremely low. And it's a lot of these today. You're one left or right, and then you meet in the middle. I don't even know, man. But Tyler Reddick, the main thing with Reddick is sometimes he's looked incredibly fast, and I feel like that'll carry him to the round of 8. But there's also times where he's been very inconsistent, which I don't think can take you to a championship 4. So in my opinion, Tyler Reddick goes out in the round of 8. They definitely could make the championship 4. I mean, I think Vegas suits the 45. Homestead definitely suits the 45. And, oh god, what else? What's the other track? I don't think Martinsville really suits them, but who knows? Maybe they could sneak out a good result there, but in my opinion, Tyler Reddick will be out in the round of 8 this year. And 7th in the round of 8, I have Brad Keselowski in the 6th. Main reason is before, like I said before with Chris Buescher, I can only see one RFK car making it to the round of 8. And I just feel like Brad Keselowski's going to be the one who's more motivated. He's not been the one getting the wins for RFK. He's been helping Chris Buescher get the wins in the cases of Daytona and somewhat Michigan and Richmond. Keselowski should have won Richmond, to be honest, but I just feel like Keselowski's the more motivated and the more consistent driver, more consistently in the top 10, top 5, and if mistakes happen by these lead guys, I feel like Keselowski's always there to pounce some way, somehow. So, in my opinion, I think Brad Keselowski, this is his ceiling. I don't see Brad Keselowski making the championship 4, but what a resurgence by RFK, man. I've got to give them all their flowers this year because they've earned it. Roush Fenway Keselowski, they've done an amazing job, and Brad Keselowski, even considering both of them in the playoffs this year, is really impressive. I didn't have either of them making the playoffs this year in my video back in February, but even still, I think Brad Keselowski making the round of 8 is a huge accomplishment for RFK, and Chris Buescher making the round of 12 is a humongous accomplishment for Roush Fenway Keselowski. But now for a more of a, how do I describe Mr. H? Not the Mr. H of Hendrick, the Mr. H of Gibbs. Denny Hamster Hamlin. Mr. Detrimental, that's what I'll call him. Mr. Actions Detrimental, the podcast man. But I do listen to Actions Detrimental sometimes. It's a good little podcast. But Denny Hamlin beat up Kyle Larson too much. That would be my way of saying Denny Hamlin's not going to make the Final 4. It's very clear the 11 does have speed. The 11 is very consistent. They are fast, but when you make rivals and you see them on track, they're going to make sure that you don't get through to that championship 4. Denny Hamlin moved Kyle Larson out of the way at the final lap at Kansas. Denny Hamlin bumped Kyle Larson into the wall at Pocono. I was actually supposed to be at that race, but that's a story for another day. But anyway, I just think that Denny Hamlin has ruffled too many feathers, to put it nicely. And can he make the championship 4? Most definitely. But, oh my god, I'm just realizing my championship 4, I had 2 drivers incorrect. I thought Hamlin made it last year, but he didn't. Chastain made it over Hamlin. Hail Melon! But anyway, I think Denny Hamlin comes up just short of the championship 4 once again. Sorry, Denny Hamlin fans, but I think he's ruffled too many feathers this year, and that's how I see Denny Hamlin's season going. And my last driver missing the championship 4, another Toyota, another Gibbs guy, Christopher Bell in the 20. I mean, how do I describe Christopher Bell? Clutch last season, but this year, his only wins on Bristol Dirt. He won me a lot of money at Bristol Dirt. Thank you, Christopher Bell. But that's the only real time the 20 cars been in contention for wins. He's always in the top 5. I don't know how he does it. He's always in the top 10, top 5. He's just always there. But at net, the final jump is never there in the regular season for Christopher Bell. Can he come up clutch again and win 2 of the 3 cutoff races? Definitely. Christopher Bell is that kind of driver. He is that talented. He is a phenomenal talent, in my opinion. Having him in the 20 car is probably Joe Gibbs' biggest accomplishment. But as Kyle Larson said, he might even be better than him. I don't think he is, but Christopher Bell is one amazing race car driver, in my opinion. But the reason I have him going out in the round of 8, I just feel like these guys who I have in the championship for have been the cream of the crop this season, and they've been the most consistent. They've showed up when they need to, and I just don't think Christopher Bell has had that this year. I mean, Adam Stevens and company could go out and give him the best cars in existence, and he could very well win the championship this year. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think this is going to be a minor step back for the 20 team, which will motivate them even more for next season. Now, Phoenix Raceway, Championship 4. Who do I have going there? I'm going to go one driver at a time for this one because I want my champion to be saved for the very last. Starting off with my 4th place finisher in this year's championship, I have the 8 of Kyle Busch. Yep, I do have RCR going in the championship 4. I do think the 8 car can make it. I do think a revitalized Kyle Busch can make the championship 4 with RCR, especially in the next gen car. But will they have the speed of the Hendricks, the Gibbs, the 2311s, the Penske's? Probably not. I think they'll be up there and they'll sneak a win here or 2 in these playoffs, and I think Kyle Busch will hit the 5 wins tally this season. I do think with him wanting to prove Joe Gibbs wrong more than anything, that, hey, I can go do this. This is the resurgence of Kyle Busch, in my opinion. But as some of you know, Kyle Busch is my current favorite driver in the sport. My all-time favorite is Tony Stewart. And when Tony Stewart retired, Kyle was always my second favorite, so when Tony retired, I just had to start rooting for Kyle. But anyway, Kyle Busch going out or finishing 4th in this year's playoffs, I think is fair. He could be a round of 8, maybe even a round of 12, but I doubt it. But I think Kyle Busch has had a phenomenal season so far in that 8 car. And when that 8 team is looked on, whew, my God, have they ever looked on. Randall Burnett has been amazing. The RCR pit crew has been great. Kyle could sneak into a super speedway win at Talladega again. He could win the Roval. I feel like he could win Homestead. I feel like he could win any of these tracks, man. That's what I feel like. If we go to anywhere on the schedule, I truly do feel like Kyle Busch can contend and go for the win. But I think 4th place for the 8 car of RCR, I think is a fair result. Give me Kyle Busch to finish 4th in this year's championship. And finishing 3rd in this year's championship, I have the 5 of Kyle Larson. Checkers or wreckers with this guy. I mean, every time I look up, Kyle Larson's in the top 5, and then he's either in victory lane, finishing 5th or better, or wrecked in the garage. So I feel like Kyle Larson will get a win or 2 these playoffs. I feel like that's what's going to carry him to the championship 4 once again. But can he go win it at Phoenix? I feel like there's been 2 drivers better and more consistent than him this year that I think are going to have a little bit more speed than Kyle Larson this year. Man, Kyle Larson's always my championship pick, man. You can look last year, you can look at the beginning of this year. All I've been talking about was Kyle Larson this, Kyle Larson that, Kyle Larson, Kyle Larson, Kyle Larson. I can't overlook this 5 team, man. I see how much talent they have and how much potential they have. I can't look past that, you know what I mean? There's so much there and so much history ready to be creating, but I don't know. Too much inconsistency. Well, consistently checkers or wreckers, but you want to be consistently finishing on track in the top 5, top 10, or what have you. So give me Kyle Larson to finish 3rd in this year's championship. And finishing second place, your championship runner-up will be the 24 of William Byron. Hendrick Motorsports, they've looked great all season. What a breakout season it's been for William Byron. 5 different wins, winning at tracks like Watkins Glen, Atlanta, Phoenix, winner of the Phoenix Spring Race, Vegas. Where else did he win? Darlington, that's it. But he won me money at Darlington too. I picked William Byron to win that Darlington race. He won me that Darlington race. It probably should have been Kyle Larson, but even still, a win is a win. We take profits here on the Skylar Dagley channel. But anyways, William Byron, I think can definitely, I feel like he's going to be in the championship 4 or the round of 8. Anything less is a disappointment for the 24 team, in my opinion. But Rudy Fugle, William Byron, and that pit crew, that team, they've teamed up for an amazing season, powered by Rick Hendrick and Jeff Gordon. And I feel like if they make the championship 4, that's great. It would be the 24 team's first championship 4 appearance since Jeff Gordon left in 2015. Like, championship 4 would be amazing for that 24 team, and I feel like William Byron's definitely picked up his socks this year. I'm gonna pick up my sock myself just to give William Byron his applause. Everybody give him a round of applause for Willie B. Great stuff, Benjamin Bill. But anyway, I think William Byron, can he win it? Yes. But do I think he'll win it? No, because the one guy I feel like can beat him comes out of the Gibbs camp, Toyota. He's a one-time champion already, and I think he's going to get number 2 this season. The 19 of Martin Truex Jr. Yes, that is right. I think the man who missed the playoffs last year is going to come back and win the championship this year. Truex has looked great all year, and I truly feel like those last few laps in Phoenix are going to be Truex versus Byron, and they're going to go back and forth, but I feel like the veteran will beat the young gun in this situation, and Martin Truex Jr. deservingly, very deservingly, will be your 2023 NASCAR Cup Series champion. No matter where you've looked, where you've been, Martin Truex Jr. has always been in the picture. He'd be at the top 10 on a super speedway, top 5 on a road course, top 10 at Vegas or Pocono, or top 5 at some of these places. Even on short tracks, he's been winning. Like, he's won at Dover. He's won at Martinsville. Did he win at Martinsville? No. Oh no, Kyle Larson won at Martinsville. What am I talking about? I meant to say New Hampshire. Like, Truex is just great, man, and I feel like he's going to get a second this year. I feel like the way he's driven this year, he deserves to be a 2-time champion. And I think William Byron, Kyle Larson, their times are going to come, but now is the time of the 19 car. He's come close in 2019, 2018, and 2021. But I feel like this year will be the year of Martin Truex Jr., and he will reclaim his second championship here in the 2023 season. And that'll do it, ladies and gentlemen. Those are my predictions for the NASCAR 2023 playoffs. Whoo, baby. It's going to be a fun little playoffs, I can't lie. It'll probably get pretty spicy with the next gen car. No concussions this year, so that'll be nice to have. But anyways, guys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you smash that like button down below for more NASCAR, FIFA, EAFC now, NASCAR Formula 1, EAFC, soccer, football, NFL football coming soon, sneak peek. But anyways, guys, I will see you in the next video. Probably tomorrow as of uploading this, but I will see you next time out. Take care, and peace!